Free Frank McWhorter showed leadership by buying his family's freedom and left a legacy by founding New Philadelphia, Illinois. New Philadelphia was the first town in the United States to be registered by an African American. Free Frank was born into slavery in 1777 in Union, South Carolina, near the Ponca River, and died in 1854 in Pike County, Illinois. His parents were Judah and George McWhorter. However, they were not the usual happily married couple. George McWhorter was a Scotch-Irish plantation owner. Judah was born in West Africa and bought by George after being abducted into slavery. Free Frank's name was originally Wharter, the same as his slave owner, but he later changed it to Wharter. Frank's initial family consisted of only him and his mother Judah. Frank married Lucy Denham in 1799, a slave who lived nearby. In the year of 1800, Lucy and Frank had their first child, Judah McWhorter. Following Judah was Frank McWhorter, born in 1804. Sally McWhorter came next in 1811, followed by Solomon McWhorter. Solomon McWhorter was born in 1815. Squire McWhorter was another child, born in 1870. Commodore McWhorter was born in 1823, and their last child, Lucy Ann McWhorter, was born in 1825. In 1830, after Lucy and Frank had their fourth child, they moved from Kentucky to Illinois. They bought a small farm in Pike County's Hadley Township. The couple then, in 1836, platted the current New Philadelphia. It became a multiracial town soon after, even before the Civil War. The 1850 U.S. Census proved this, showing both blacks and whites living there. However, there was most likely still racial tension. For example, the town's gravesite was separated by color. New Philadelphia was likely a stop for the Underground Railroad, which often crossed the Mississippi at nearby Quincy. One thing Free Frank is well known for is his work ethic. Using the money that he earned from working tirelessly, Frank bought his family out of slavery. He mined crude niter and processed it into saltpeter to earn his money. He worked on days off and at night. By 1817, he was able to save up $800, which was enough to buy his wife Lucy out of slavery. Amazingly, throughout his lifetime, Free Frank McWhorter managed to buy 16 members of his family out of slavery. These included his children, grandchildren, siblings, and daughters-in-law. These 16 members cost a total of about $14,000, an equivalent to about $300,000 in today's money. Along with saving and buying his family's freedom and starting the town of New Philadelphia, he also purchased land in Kentucky. Free Frank founded New Philadelphia, Illinois in 1836. New Philadelphia was the first town in the United States to be registered in the United States federal government by an African American. It is located in Pike County, Illinois, just southeast of Quincy, Illinois. He had moved to Illinois after he bought his and his family's freedom in South Carolina. New Philadelphia had a population of 58 people in the federal census of 1850. In that census, 35% of the population was listed as mulatto, or having ancestry from both blacks and whites. 62% were recorded as white and only 3% as black. By 1865, New Philadelphia's population peaked to an astounding 160 residents. In that census, 70% of the population was white, 30% was recorded as black. In 1870, the Hannibal's Railroad went around New Philadelphia. This hurt the town because many people left to find jobs in other cities. By 1870, New Philadelphia had a population of only 123 residents. Everyone had their responsibilities. In 1870, there were 3 school teachers, a minister, and a physician. The town was highly populated by residents who were farming and in agriculture. In 1870, there were 21 farmers in New Philadelphia. The population slowly decreased from that of 1865. Today, New Philadelphia is one of the 3 National Historic Sites from Illinois. New Philadelphia covered 42 acres of land and is still standing to this day. Back when Free Frank and his family lived in New Philadelphia, they grew their own food. They owned crops and raised livestock. They grew oats, barley, and potatoes. They also raised flax and sheep, which produced wool for clothing. Cattle were very popular, since most of the land was covered in prairies. They were commonly used to make a profit. The cost of raising them was only about $3 for 5 years, while they would sell for about $12 a head. This likely gave Frank income. He also was paid to take in stray horses until they would be sold or identified. Today, New Philadelphia is no longer inhabited only by weeds, animals, and forgotten graves. Some buildings are still standing, but they're old and uninhabitable. Many of the townspeople had moved away by 1885 for better economic opportunities or in search of jobs. New Philadelphia was forgotten by many, but the stories of Free Frank still remain. In 2005, Illinois Governor Blagojevich named a stretch along Interstate 72 Free Frank McWhorter Memorial Highway. Interstate 72 goes through the town of Barry, Illinois, which is located right next to the town site of New Philadelphia. This stretch is dedicated to Free Frank. It goes from the Mississippi River to Griggsville, Illinois. This stretch is about 35 miles. The New Philadelphia Association developed an on-site exhibit space at the New Philadelphia National Landmark in 2009. It tells the story of Free Frank and his accomplishments. The exhibit reminds visitors of what Free Frank did to influence our country. He created a sort of utopia where blacks and whites could live together without segregation. This was a big step in the idea of equal rights between all races. Plans were made to restore Free Frank Cemetery and to rebuild New Philadelphia by the Free Frank New Philadelphia Historic Preservation Foundation. Their goal was to make the old town a pioneer museum and to show how it was once inhabited. On June 24, 2005, Dr. Juliet E.K. Walker proclaimed that the foundation had launched the Free Frank Cemetery Restoration Project. A team of many people, such as geologists, architects, botanists, and archaeologists, were to restore the old cemetery. They used global positioning, ultraviolet imaging, and many other technological processes to confirm where the unmarked graves were located. The tombstones of those who died were also replaced and restored. This operation may have uncovered many new insights about how life was back when New Philadelphia was a functioning town. New Philadelphia is close to being recognized as a national park. Congress allowed the National Park Service to study New Philadelphia. In 2011, the study was complete. It was said that at that time the site might qualify. However, there was some concern about managing an archaeological site. The building for the Visitors Center would decrease the town's historical value, though receiving the designation could definitely benefit the site of New Philadelphia. President Obama is expected to sign into law that the town site of New Philadelphia will be recognized as a national park. The Barry Museum in Illinois contains information about Free Frank. Barry commonly gets tourists who are studying Free Frank. Not only is Free Frank McWhorter displayed in the Barry Museum, but also in the Lincoln Presidential Library. Shirley McWhorter Moss made a sculpture of Free Frank McWhorter, shown here. Statements are commonly made about Free Frank as well, such as the one made by Patricia McWhorter at the hearing on the powerful legacies of New Philadelphia. Free Frank McWhorter is becoming more well known every day. Many organizations and groups are dedicated to keeping Frank's story alive, such as the NSF-REU Field School. In 2007, they received the funding from the National Science Foundation's Research Experience for Undergrads program for 3 more years of field school research at New Philadelphia. Many would say that Free Frank McWhorter was one of the most inspirational people in our history. Free Frank proved himself to both the black and white community, even when they looked down on people of his ethnicity. Free Frank also showed loyalty to both his family and to his dreams. He saved up more and more money, only thinking of others. Frank bought land and his family's freedom, showing that he was just as capable as any white person. Free Frank was quite an unusual character to be able to do all that he did, said Cindy Hitchler, a guide at the Barry Museum. I think we would all agree that Free Frank made a tremendous milestone in our country's history. Free Frank showed leadership by never giving up and working for his family's freedom.